Hey all, here OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the LinpaWorld T3. These are TWS wireless earbuds, which are unique for three reasons. The first being the design. As you can see, these have an integrated hook on them, which makes them harder to fall out of your ears if you're performing sports. It's actually kind of similar to the Power Beats in terms of its shape, and it's, again, a little bit different from the majority of in-ear buds that we typically see, which are smaller. The second interesting feature is that they can last up to 20 hours on a single charge. That is, without needing to even pop them into the case, they can just last for 20 hours of continuous music playback. That's the longest metric that I've seen yet. However, there is a caveat. That is, the case here does not actually have a built-in battery, which means that you aren't able to pop them into the case to give it a quick top up when on the road. It's simply acting as a dock for you to then plug it into the wall to charge it up. So the 20 hours that you're getting is basically it if you're on the road, and it's all built into the earbuds. Finally, these are IPX5 rated, so they will be splash proof, they're sweat proof, and they're also not that expensive. They actually can be found for under 45 bucks. Definitely a more unique and uncommon form factor for wireless earbuds, which I think sets it apart, and it's also a lot cheaper than the other styles which are similar to it, like the aforementioned Power Beats, which are much more expensive. Now this uses the latest Bluetooth 5.0 chip, however it does not come with Qualcomm's aptX. This is the case. We also have the charging cable along with spare silicone tips to get a more comfortable fit. Unfortunately, it is using micro USB as opposed to USB Type-C, but again, for around 40 bucks, it's not the biggest problem. We also have a quick user manual. This is, in fact, the charging dock. Again, there is no built-in battery, so you can pop it in here. It doesn't actually top it up when on the road, but it's actually an interesting soft case, which is definitely very different from the majority of other earbuds on the market that are using a hard plastic. So this feels a lot softer by comparison. We have the LinpaWorld logo. The bottom features simply the micro USB port for charging, and then when you open it up, we have access to the earbuds inside. And overall, it's also magnetic, so it attaches with a satisfying click, just like with any other battery case, except the bottom here is hollow since there is no actual built-in battery. The downside is because it doesn't actually have a built-in battery, the earbuds don't automatically turn on when you remove them from the case. You have to actually tap on the button on the top here for about 3 seconds to boot them on. They will pair with each other, and then you can connect it to your device. Here it is next to the aforementioned Power Beats. As you can see here, the battery case of both are comparable. If you're used to, say, the Apple AirPods, this is going to be considerably larger. Finally, here it is next to the aforementioned EOS Air, which is, again, also quite similar. And again, this is the other pair of wireless earbuds I've tried that has a built-in ear hook. Just a closer look at the earbuds themselves. We have a polycarbonate frame, and then the accents here are actually made out of metal, along with this rail here that adds a little bit of weight to the hook is also made out of metal. So really the build quality doesn't seem cheap at all. In fact, it's got more premium materials than the Power Beats, which are made entirely out of plastic. So overall, good job there. The only two minor criticisms I have from a design perspective is one, this is a physical button as opposed to a touch-sensitive one, which I always prefer in earbuds, just because when you already have this inserted into your ears, pressing down exerts additional force, which isn't as comfortable as a gentle tap, but overall it gives you a tactile sensation when pressing down. Moving into audio quality and performance, let's start with the pros. The first is going to be the comfort. The addition of this wing really supports the weight of these when you're wearing them, and as a result, these are ultra comfortable even for extended periods of time. That's important because indeed battery life is one of the most impressive attributes of these. Again, 20 hours on a single charge is pretty much unrivaled. Moving into the audio quality, I would say there's also a good amount of bass, so if you're listening to a bass boosted track or EDM music, anything with a drum beat, it does become something that you can feel. Although it's still not the most bass-heavy earbuds I've ever tried, I feel that it still is very pleasant and also gives you a nice mix of mids and highs. If anything, I would say that the sound quality is average. I say that because it doesn't have perhaps the most clarity or detail to the sound. That's kind of to be expected considering the lower cost. Although I wouldn't say sound quality is muddy, it certainly doesn't have as much of an open sound as some of the more expensive TWS earbuds that we've tried. These are definitely still more closed feeling in terms of the experience. With that being said, it still gets plenty loud, and again, just for casual music listening, for watching videos, it still does a great job. Now, speaking of, for watching videos on YouTube, I would say it also does all right. Again, not having aptX does mean that if you are super nitpicky about latency, you may notice a split-second delay sometimes between the audio and the video that you're watching, but overall, it's not too big of a problem. Bluetooth 5.0 earbuds in general have gotten a lot lot better than past generations like 4.2 in this area, but there might still be a split, maybe 100 millisecond delay between the audio and the video, depending on the content that you're looking at. For example, if it's a really fast-paced action film, that might be a little bit distracting, but for general clips and vlogs, it's not going to be too noticeable. I would say for music listening is really what they're meant for primarily, and at that, I think it does a good job. I really had no problems in terms of connectivity either. They paired very quickly to my phone, and the left and right sides remained connected. So that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the LinpaWorld T3. I think the most interesting thing about these would be the design. They're really comfortable even for extended periods of listening. They're well supported in terms of the weight with solid construction quality that seems a lot more expensive than the price would suggest. It also offers really long battery life, again per charge, lasting upwards of 20 hours. So if you want something with some extra security, you're afraid of them falling out, then these are worth a closer look. You can check out more details in the links below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the LinpaWorld T3 TWS True Wireless Earbuds.